Well, hello my fellow car modelers, how you doing today? Hey, you know what? This is kind of a spur of the moment video. I just got an idea. I was doing some unboxing of, still got tons of boxes from moving in almost a year ago now. Still moving in, I guess. I've got so much model stuff. So I came across this box that had a bunch of my old built-ups that are kind of in disarray and stuff. So I thought, hey, I think I'm going to show you guys these, and maybe we'll pick a couple out, and I'm going to let you guys pick one for me to kind of like get cleaned up and maybe something good to put on the shelf. Who knows? Maybe one of these can be resurrected. I thought this would be a fun little model car exercise, something neat to do, something different. So, well, why don't we go ahead and I'll show you the box, and we'll start going through it. Who knows what we find, huh? We could find some really cool things in there. Yeah, this could be fun. Or it could be an absolute disaster. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try it out. What the heck? Well, here it is in all its glory. This is how I found it. And wow, let's start digging and see what we find. I'm not even sure what's in here. I see a couple of things I recognize. A lot of NASCAR. I went through a kick many years ago, like late 80s, early 90s. I built a lot of NASCAR models just to sit on the shelf. Lots of times I didn't really do much but slam the chassis together. Sometimes I didn't even paint it, just used whatever color plastic it was, just to have cars up on the shelves. There's something. I don't know. You drag race fans. From drag race. I don't know which one. That was a while ago, wasn't it? Oh, here's a cool bag, so I kept it. Nothing's in it. Here's an old video. This car actually got into a contest annual. A Scale Auto contest annual. When I lived in Virginia back in the early 90s, I was in a club called the Ridge Runners of Southwest Virginia. And I built this for that club, and it was a made-up car, kind of beat up. It was fun. It's kind of wreckage. It actually had a detailed chassis. I have this detailed chassis that you may have already seen it. It was in my last video there with the flat nose Monte Carlo, the one that had the resin nose on it. Yeah, that chassis has been under many bodies. It was a chassis I did in the late 80s. It's an old chassis with some detail, and it had a lot of bodies put on it, so I would bounce that thing all around. And at one time that chassis was on this car. But it's pretty neat. Look at that. I said this is kind of cool. I might have to, if I can find the hood, I might have to resurrect this one no matter what. And got a lot of stuff. This is one of them cars that was basically just built to be up on the shelf. Nothing with the chassis. Look at that. It's even not even painted. I just wanted to have it sitting on the shelf. I'm missing a wheel here, and I'm missing the hood. The funny thing is this was just kit decals laid on the plastic, and I cleared it with back then that's when I was kind of in my kick. Yeah, I want to say this is like 1990. I was in my kick of trying out that old Future floor wax or clear thing. I think I did airbrush it on, but one thing I did find, it stayed crystal clear for a while, but you could see it yellows, and there's some spots where if it gets heavy, it turns really brown. You kind of see some age spots here and there. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I'll tell you what, it kind of does buff up. I mean, it gets thin after the years, but I bet you I could bring this thing back to life. I like the color of the wheels. That was always a Bobby Ellison thing, but yeah, we might. This is a potential one. I don't know what the heck is in here. Couple of, whoops. I think we just got a couple of old Chevelles in here. These are probably kits I picked up at swap meets. I don't even have a use much for them. I have so many Chevelles. I might go into a sell-off pile one day. What is that? Garage scene stuff. An old Camaro body that I was flaring the heck out of the fenders. If you can notice. That could be some kind of sort of cool stock car. A little dented up. I don't know when I was doing this and what I was going for, but yeah, it could be cool. Oh, this just looks like, I don't know, there's not a built up, or it was somebody's built up. It looks like, I'm not going to open it up, but it looks like the chassis and parts from one of those AMT kits from the 80s when they did their stock car series that was in 1/16 scale. You know, we can always look at one of those kits. I got a couple of them. Maybe we'll do a Luka's kits on one of those kits. But maybe we can toss this off to the side. This is just, oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. Old HO scale model kits of 40 Fords. All right, now we're getting into the meat of this. Here's an old slot car body. There's just a Mustang body with, probably from a collection I got. I never did this. It's just somebody was trying to do a stock car out of a Mustang. It could come in handy maybe one day. And an old body. I actually, I don't know if I've used this in a video, but you can see I was kind of doing some rust techniques on it, just a test body. It's, again, from some old built up I probably got in a collection. It's not one of mine. That's a roof from a diorama. Oh, this is a car I actually want to do again, very much so. I always liked Dave Marcus's Lifeboy Monte Carlo he ran in the late 80s. I believe 87, 88, 89, or just 88, 89. At first had the gold numbers and it went to white numbers. I want to do the 89 car. He was one of the last guys to still run the Monte Carlo when all the Chevy teams were running the Lumina, and I always thought that was neat, and I always liked blue, and I just liked this car. You know, I like Dave Marcus. I don't think this is resurrectable. I want to do that Lifeboy car, but I'll start from scratch, and no need to resurrect that one. Here's another cool Monte Carlo. I don't know how many of you guys would know. Yeah, you'd say, oh no, it was only a Lumina in that Days of Thunder movie. No, this was an actual real car that ran in the Busch Grand National. Greg Sachs drove it. This is kind of too far gone. I wouldn't bother resurrecting. I would definitely like to build this car again because I do love the City Chevrolet. It's probably my favorite NASCAR paint job. I love the Lumina, but this would be really cool. Here's a potential one. I always liked this sitting on my shelf. It used to look a lot better. It had its better days, but it's another one of my ones I just basically threw a chassis under. I don't know if that blue is correct. I can't remember what I used. I do recall I was using Corporation Blue, Chrysler Corporation Blue, actual real automotive paint. It was a long time ago. It's kind of seen its days. There's a few mess ups. I don't know if it'd be worth resurrecting. I'd rather just build another one, and I don't even know where the hood's at. But yeah, that's cool. Oh, there's so much. Will we cover it all? Yeah, there's something cool. I built this many years ago. I think I had a MPC NASCAR, 70s NASCAR chassis under this. But this was when AMT first came out with the 66 Fairlane. And I just wanted to build Ned Jared's car real bad. I liked how it was. This could actually clean up, but I don't know where the hood is. You might be able to see the fender flares. I went a little nutsy with them. But I don't think they aggressively did them back in those days that much. But it was fun. I liked doing fender flares. And yeah, this one's it's gone. This is another one of those. I just wanted it on the shelf. You can see how ragged this thing is. But no painted chassis. This was just to sit on the shelf, just to represent a good wrench car. And it is kit decals on an unpainted body, and then I just cleared with Future. That is that. Nothing exciting. Oh, this was a nice car at one time. This car actually got into Scale Auto, just a contest coverage, nothing major. But it was a one of my early Pro Streets. I bet you I built this car in 1989, 88, 89. But wheels are long gone. I probably rated them. But early opening up the trunk. But pieces and parts are long gone. I don't know. But this was actually plumb crazy. It's real, the real thing. It was a lacquer, I shot that, buffed it up. I don't think I even cleared it. I think I just shot the lack. I might have cleared it because, yeah, I cleared it because of the stripes right there. And I bet you this has a pretty neat engine in there. I always like making weird injection, you know, a modern injection on an old engine, old car for a Pro Street back then, you know, and I'd make something up with whatever parts I'd find in the box. Just invented my own plenum. I don't even know what it came from. And you can see there's even nitrous lines and solenoids and stuff. And yeah, this was, yeah, probably some of my early detailing work from the late 80s when I was first getting into all this detail stuff. And even this will, I don't know, oh, you probably can't see it. I wonder if you can. Can you see there's a cell phone in there? An actual, let's see. I can't get there. There is a cell phone. I put a cell phone in there because that was, you know, the things in the late 80s, they actually, you had mounted cell phones. You couldn't take them out of the car. They were car phones back then. You can even see there's the cell phone antenna. Wow, this dates this car, huh? Let's pick that up. Look at that. A cell phone antenna I made. This was kind of a cool car. I actually have been wanting to build a modern you know, today's version. I want to start from scratch. I do want to do another one of these, how I would build it today. I like the plum crazy with the white strobes. I don't know about resurrecting it. Oh, this is sad. I guess it hit the wall at Bristol. Sorry, Ronnie Thomas from Christiansburg, Virginia. I think there's another one of them bodies that went on that floating detailed chassis. And just a Bill Elliott Melling car. Nothing big. Just a junk body there as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let's dig in. I think we're going to start getting into some good stuff. This is, well, I didn't build this, but this is a part of Model Car Hobby headquarters history. And I got a couple people give me flack about it. This is just a junk car, not even well built. Got it from somebody or a collection or something. You know, I just rated parts. I actually just wanted it for the taillights because I needed the taillights, but then they're so glue bombed. They're not even good. They're so destroyed. This was sitting in a scene that I walked into my model room all frustrated, and I smacked this thing across the room, and it hit the wall. And I had people mad at me over that. No, I will not resurrect this. I'm just going to toss it again. Have no idea. There's some parts for a truck of some sort. Looks like a Ford. Have no idea. Oh, wow. This is a model. I actually want to put this together one day. This is a model. I built this, probably one of my first models, 1984. I wanted to do a car. I was like working at a body shop, first time getting a body shop job. I wanted to be a car painter at one time, so I got a job at a shop. And I thought, hey, this would be unique. Nobody would do with building models. Paint the thing primer. I just took some paint, made it look like there's spot putty there. Things I was learning when I was at that shop, and just tried to do my. I think this is technically my first crack at, you know, aging up and weathering, making it oily. And I would have to say, nice crack for a young kid. Look, I didn't even take the 1981 Revell off of there. That is not well done, but hey, E for effort for a young kid getting into modeling. As I started I actually started building model cars. I really didn't do it when I was a kid. I started as a young adult, about the age of 18, because I was really getting into cars heavy after high school. That's what spiked my interest. So I was never a kid building model cars. So this was about, I was 18. That's cool. This is just a leftover chassis. Good for parts. I don't know, some kind of interior tub. Couldn't even tell you. Oh, I can tell you what this is. Holy cow. I might have to set this aside. This is a Johan, or Johan, whatever, a soft J. Interior for the Trans Am 73 Javelin. That is a valuable part. I have a use for that. Yeah, there was Bobby Allison, actually. He left DieGuard and took a borrowed Ford Thunderbird. He actually even put Buick on the thing, and he got in trouble for it because he was still backed by Buick, but he had to run a few races when he first went on his own after leaving DieGuard. So he ran a Ford Thunderbird in the old Miller colors for a couple of races, and I wanted to build a model of it. And this thing is really not good, and you can see how bad the decals look under I wouldn't resurrect this. I would just build it again. I got plenty of those decals. A Chevelle. This was actually a slot car I built a long time ago. I just raced that at a slot car track. Nothing really major. Just an old Tempest body or GTO body with the big fender flares for racing. I always love playing with fender flares. This could be basically useful if I want to do something. This was actually, I was replicating a real car that ran in Trans Am that was called the Gray Ghost. Herb Adams ran in the Trans Am with this. It was his wife's car, and he, you know, she used it for a couple years, and then he just took the car and turned it into a race car and went Trans Am racing in it. Oh, this is something cool. Actually, this was one of my very first attempts of trying to do a take to the model show NASCAR. A model show, total highly detailed. It's actually kind of junky. But the unique thing about this is I really got into a kick of doing made-up cars. And I just got into this whole thing is when I did these fake cars, I would lots of times use the number 2. I still do that, either 2 or 22. But the thing about this is I got this idea because I really was a big Darrell Waltrip fan, and I absolutely dug the Tide car. I wanted to do a kind of a take on the Tide car. So what I did was I figured a Purex car. I did this car in early '89. The thing is eventually Purex did get on a car. Lake Speed drove it. They did at one time do a very similar paint job for Purex. Now how I did this, because of course there were no Purex decals. And if I can find the hood, I'll show you the hood. I actually took the Purex off of the box, the cardboard box. I shot clear over it. I stuck the cleared portion, you know, the logo, in the water to get all wet so I could get all the cardboard off of it. Got it all off, and I was able to just have the clear with the ink, basically, or the paper on there. It's still really rough. I tried to clear over it and buff it. But it was a good attempt of making my own decals with the actual logo from the box. I think it worked really good. This was a really cool looking car when I built it. I put a driver in there. You can see I put Purex all over that, and let's see, you can see in there. I think he had a little mishap. I think that's just from I bought this at a swap meet. I didn't build this, and I just wanted it for the wheels, so that's why this thing is nothing. Oh, there's still so much stuff in here, but not a lot. We're down to the end. There's a couple. It's more like pieces that fell off the cars. This was another slot car. Kind of a cool body. It's pretty beat, though. But that was just a slot car. This Kodak Lumina. That one's actually kind of restorable, that body. That could get... I'm going to put that on the restored list. Getting down to the bitter end, there's a whole bunch of pieces and parts, but this was just a, you know, a slammer I did years ago. This was the Callaway Corvette that Monogram put out, and I just found a kind of, had to do some cutting up, and I couldn't get a black window to work with body for Callaway. Had a strange half windshield that wrapped around, no roof. So I took from another Monogram Corvette kit, the convertible, I took the roof and all this right here and added it just to make it a little bit cooler car. And I kind of did it all Pro Street with big slicks on the back. And I always liked these wheels out of the Corvettes. I thought it was something cool. It actually looks pretty cool sitting on the shelf, but it has definitely seen its days. I bet you I could, I don't know what's missing here. It's really nothing. Again, it's just a slammer. I could probably see if this will clean up. That'd be fun. See if it'll clean up and buff. That could be neat. What the heck? I'm going to put that in the Resurrect pile. Again, I would just do slammers. This was just a slammer. I'm kind of testing paint. Nothing underneath. Just, well, even breaking. Just shove tires in it. And what was I doing here? I have no idea. Oh, this was the start of a slot car body. No big deal. Nice resin hood scoop. I might have to take that off. I think I was building this for my daughter to race. Oh, heck, I was wondering. Oh, look at that. Bam! Yeah, that tire is stuck right into the clear. This was just a shelf model at one time. It actually probably could be cleaned up, but yeah, just Butch Leo's car. Okay, now we're just down to the crumbs here. I think there's here just a couple more cars. There's this old Ferrari. This was the Magnum PI Revell Ferrari. I've resurrected this thing once before. I have the kit. I don't think it's worth doing. And I was decaling this thing up. This never became a car. I never finished it. And then there's actually better decals. I want to do this car, but I would just redo it and maybe use this body, maybe not. I probably would actually, because it looks like I did some body work here to blend the nose in. This body actually, I think I might have to strip this down and redo. Oh, I'm going to hold on to this one. There's just some crumbs, but I'm finding pieces here. Like there's that STP hood. Oh, it's too bad I don't have the rest of the body. This is interesting. This is a Tide hood, and I'll just tell you a quick story about that. Way back when the Lumina first, I don't even think it hit the racetrack yet, but they were showing pictures. One of the first kind of test Luminas bodied up old race car was the Tide Lumina, and I remember it showed up in a little blip in Hot Rod magazine, and I was like, oh, that is a cool looking car. I just love the look of the Lumina. And of course, being a Darrell Walter fan, I love the Tide car. I wanted to build it. What I did was, this is actually a Pontiac hood, because I took the Pontiac, the STP hood, this is the Pontiac, you can see, it's the same hood. It's not a Lumina hood. Let's do that. Look at that. Total comparison. See that? And I took that Pontiac body and I basically reshaped the rear bumper and the front bumper to look like a Lumina. And I painted it up like the Tide car, and I did a Tide Lumina. One of the cars that I wanted to resurrect, I think, is the Kodak car. So there's the hood. Good thing. So we can do it. Yeah, there it is. Ah, good. That's for that Ridge Runner's Buick. So that's good if I want to resurrect that. Oh, there's the Purex hood. See, that was taken that whole thing right there was taken off the box. You can see how rough it is. But, you know, that was best way back then to do a custom decal. There were no computers back then. Like, this is the late 80s. Because I'll tell you what, this isn't the first time I've done this. Let me show you something. So here is an example of a resurrected junkyard car. This model was built around the same time and in the same manner as a lot of those NASCAR models that I showed you, as in this Miller Buick. And you can see how much nicer this car looks. And believe me, it didn't at one time. It was about in the same shape as that Miller car and many of the other cars we looked at. What I did with this probably about 10 or 12 years ago is, you know, again, this is a unique car, hard to get a hold of those 35 decals there, and I really like this car, is I went ahead and cleaned it up, prepped it a bit, and I ended up shooting some automotive clear onto it to bring that paint job sort of back. It's not perfect, but it looks great on the shelf. And again, we have a chassis here that is just put together. It is painted, but it's nothing to look at. There's no engine or anything. This is strictly just a sit on the shelf car. And this is what I want to bring one of these cars back. So let's go over the cars that I have chosen to be one to resurrect, and I would like for you guys to tell me which one you'd like to see resurrect. The most votes, comments, that'll be the car we'll try to give it this treatment right here. The first one here is the Ridge Runner Buick. And what we are looking at with these cars is we're just interested in the body. I can always put a new chassis together. I've got so many of these NASCAR chassis as far as the NASCAR cars. Just interested in resurrecting this body, and we're going to put a basic chassis under it. It's just going to be a shelf model, no detail, no engine, nothing like that. We just want it to look good sitting on the shelf. This chassis might actually be resurrectable too, but again, we just want this thing to sit on a shelf and look cool. Now here's one I don't even have a chassis for. Well, I do, but it's kind of busted up. We can maybe work with that one, or we just put another one together. I think this body is very, very restorable. I think the paint is good enough to bring back, maybe shoot another little bit of a coat of clear, or who knows, we might be able to bring it back by just cleaning it and giving it a buff. Who knows? I don't know for sure what kind of clear I had on this. I would guess at the time period when I built this, it was probably Krylon Crystal Clear. That's always kind of a difficult thing when I don't know the clear and I'm scared to put another clear on it. It could react. We could have an absolute disaster. But if I use automotive clear, like I did with the Folgers car, automotive clear will go over anything. It rarely ever will react to anything. As long as it's clean. It'll react to chemicals, it'll react to dirt. But if it's clean surface, whatever it is, that stuff will go on. So those are many different options we have. So there's the Kodak car. And here's the Bobby Allison Miller High Life car. I always liked this car. He won the championship in this car in the '83 season. I don't have the hood. I think I know where the hood's at, but the big thing is I'm glad I got all 4 tires. Well, mainly those wheels, because I know those wheels were painted specifically for this car, and it just seems really, really good for the Miller gold wheels they had on that car back then. I think that this would be a car easy to bring back to life. Again, remember, that's the plastic right there. The white is the plastic. The clear is future polish. I know this. I remember that really well, that's what I did. So there's the Miller High Life car. And the last one is this cool little weird Vet, the one not NASCAR model. I do know that this was not cleared. It was just painted with Duplicolor automotive paint out of the can from AutoZone. This is pretty cool. Back window, and maybe we could fit something in there. But again, just a nice shelf model. It's a slammer. It could be fun. Clean it up. It's something different. Definitely sign of the times with those big tires back in the Pro Street days when it was really at its height in the early 90s. But yeah, this could be a cool one too. Alrighty, fellow car modelers, so why don't you put in the comments below of which one you think we should do, and we'll go ahead and we'll clean it up and do another video on how to kind of resurrect a model. That would be kind of cool. I bet you anything, if you guys have been building for a long time, you got a bunch of these like that, and just disarray, or what I call my model car junkyard. I even have more other places, but this was my core stuff that used to be on the shelves and kind of didn't have places for them anymore, and they were kind of run down anyways, and they went into this box and got forgotten. I'm waiting for your comments. Let me know below, and don't forget, check out my Teespring. Yes, the coffee's cold, and we got some great shirts there and everything. It really helps support this channel. Really want to start bringing a heck of a lot more content than we have in the past year out to you guys. And the subs are going up. We're getting better known. More people are watching, and more you guys are jumping on. If you're new to this channel, or you don't know about the Facebook group, that's Model Car Hobby Headquarters Facebook group. Get on there, join. We've got almost, I think, 7,000 members now. That's a lot of good model info there. A lot of great builders, a lot of beginners, a lot of stuff to share with one another. That's a great place to go. And you will find out whenever I post a video, I always put it on there first to let you guys know, because we know we can't rely on the YouTube notifications. So, you know, there you go. That's my notification way of getting out to all you guys. and I'm always listening to your ideas for videos. I wanna put out content you guys want to see. You know what I always say? This is me, Luka Cee. Keep gluing those fingers together and keep cutting that styrene. And we'll see you in the next video.